My name is Ibuka. I'm a plant icon, and in my 4 years of gardening, both indoor and outdoor gardening, by the way,
What was that?
Jesus! Jesus! Jesus!
I have seen some crazy things online. I have seen some crazy advice. I've seen some crazy claims online. And I'm like, okay. So on today's video, some of you know when this notepad is out, the plant industry is about to be exposed. The plant industry is about to be shooked. On today's video, we're going to be exposing some terrible plant advice that is actually killing your plant. It's harming your plant. And I wouldn't even advise my enemies to do that to their own plants and their gardens. Without much ado, let's start exposing. Let's start exposing and debunking. Exposing and debunking. The first one, and honestly speaking, I'm still in a state of shock by this. Super glue. Yes, you heard me right. I didn't stutter. Super glue. Some of the girlies are actually advising people to use super glue on their plants. Super glue on their plants. So when they take a cutting, in fact, I just have to illustrate this because maybe you guys may think I'm not making sense. So basically, here's a cutting of pothos, and some of the girlies are actually, in this part where you cut, look, some of the girlies are advising that, you take super glue after you've taken that cutting and you put it on the tip of the cutting. The woman was too shocked to speak. I am the woman who is too shocked to speak. Why would anybody actually use super glue on a living, breathing organism? Like, it feels like it defeats common sense. Why would you do that? And the whole rationale behind this is that it prevents rot from happening on the part where you cut. Well, it may prevent rot, but it's also going to prevent the cutting from absorbing moisture. It needs to remain turgid and alive while it brings out roots. So needless to say, babes, it is not good advice. You're going to end up with a cutting that absolutely does nothing. And you might also potentially end up sealing parts where the new roots will come out from in that cutting. So don't do it. Instead of using super glue, let me give you a healthier and organic alternative. Hang on, I literally have to bring it in my kitchen because it's a common kitchen condiment. Okay? Hold on. Girlies, use cinnamon instead. Cinnamon. Not only is it harmless, but it also smells nice. Your plant room is going to be smelling aromatic. Ooh. Use this instead of that atrocious super glue, please. Another great alternative is even aloe vera. A lot of people don't know this, but aloe vera actually helps in callousing and also helps to prevent the gel from the aloe vera plant. Also helps to prevent infection. So these are great alternatives instead of super frigging glue. Oh my goodness gracious. Next time you see somebody advising you to use super glue on your plant, do this to them and then hand them cinnamon afterwards. Okay? Oh, Lord have mercy. The next one, and I've seen some of the Instagram girlies do this, including some of the girlies here in Nigeria as well, is pouring hot water in your soil. Hot, boiling, scathing water in your soil. Because the rationale behind this is because you want to, neutralize the soil, sterilize the soil. Girl, like, I can't even find, my brain is trying to come up with a way to explain why they are doing that. It is so unnatural. Our ancestors who have been gardening for years and growing plants in pots, I don't think they did. Did they do that? It feels like such a menial thing to do. Girlies, no. No, because no, I'm not a soil scientist. And if you're a soil scientist, please come in the comment section and either, let us know more about this. I'm not a soil scientist, but I reckon that if you are adding hot, boiling, scathing water in the soil, you are also going to be unaliving the beneficial microbes, fauna and fauna in that soil, and also doing damage to the structural integrity. I sounded like a professor saying that. The structural integrity of that soil, and as well as the nutrients in that soil. Things that you might not necessarily be able to replenish. So I'm gonna wager with my little common sense that I have. I'm gonna wager that that's not a good thing to do, please. That is not a good thing. Do not put hot boiling water in your soil because you're trying to treat it for pests, or you're trying to, for whatever reason. Do not do that. Okay, calm down. You're sweating too much. Calm down. Let's keep it cute. Moving on to the next point here. I can see it on this notepad. Pruning your plants. But there's a key word I want to emphasize. Indiscriminately. Indiscriminately and excessively pruning your plants. Girlies, we need to stop that. Pruning does have its benefits. It does have its benefits. It can in some cases. And this is one thing I want you all to note, because people believe that if you prune a certain plant, for example, it's going to cause it to branch out. It could happen to certain plants, but in other plants, there's a lower probability. I've noticed if you prune a vining plant, like that vining pothos there, or perhaps a vining monstera, you're less likely going to encounter it branching out from the stem you cut. You most likely encounter it branching out from one corner, and it could just make the growth awkward or even alter the growth profile. But the point I'm trying to drive out here is that excessive pruning of potted plants, emphasis on potted plants, will actually cause the plant to go into shock.
Oh dear, that's not.
I've experienced this before, and I think it's something that everyone needs to know, because the Instagram and the TikTok girlies just like to at the slightest instance. At the end of the day, potted plants are literally miniature baby plants. They do not have the extensive root system. They do not have the strength and the support that plants in the ground or plants in hedges have. So those ones can take excessive pruning. Whereas with your potted plants, you need to be a bit more mindful when pruning. Also, oh God, I ran across a TikTok. I don't want to insert that TikTok so that the girl doesn't come and fight me, but I ran across a TikTok, and this TikTok has a lot of like views. This babe was literally, she has a huge monstera plant that she probably bought from the big box store. No way that monstera plant is going to grow as big as it is, from how she prunes it. Emphasis on like this, because what she was doing was not pruning. What she was doing was just damaging that plant. So she has this huge monstera deliciosa, and she made a video advising people to cut the leaves of your monstera deliciosa.
What?
She called it pruning, but that's not pruning as far as I'm concerned. Like, she literally said, I'm gonna, I love to stand up and illustrate. I think this is a good plant. Hang on. So she literally said, cut the leaves, just cut the petals. Shum, shum, shum. And she showed herself doing it. That when you cut the petals and the leaves, it makes the plant have bigger leaves.
Jesus is Lord!
Someone, please call 911. Don't do that. Don't do that, because it doesn't make your plants have bigger leaves. Just randomly cutting leaves on your plant doesn't make it have bigger leaves. Your plants will have bigger leaves as they mature, as you feed them, as you expose them to light. The more leaves that a plant has, the more it can photosynthesize, and the more energy it has to push out bigger leaves. I dropped a comment there saying that I typically don't comment negatively on creators' content, but this one I had to say something. I dropped it there and I was like, girl, I don't think that's how it works. So yeah, please let us prune with a bit more sense and less indiscriminately. And yeah, I just figured I have to say that. Yeah. Okay, this next one, this was a term that I had in 2022 and to a certain extent in 2023. Girlies, plant girlies on a chokehold, and it is that term thrives off neglect. Please, excusez-moi. Any human being that comes on the internet, puts their phone up on a tripod and tells you that a plant thrives off neglect, that human being is lying to you. Absolutely no plant thrives off neglect. Okay, maybe a ZZ plant. I can give a ZZ plant that. Maybe that may be the exception to a certain degree. But absolutely no plant thrives off neglect. Some plants can take neglect more. I've even talked about it. I've talked about how you should even lean towards plants that can handle neglect in one of my videos on plants burnout. Some plants can take neglect a lot more. This is a perfect example. I've neglected the living daylights out of this babes here, this aglonema. But does that necessarily mean she's thriving? No. She's even got like mealybugs. Has got mealybugs and everything. And she's not growing as massively or as aggressively as, a green aglonema should typically grow. And that is what happens when you neglect plants, babes. Pests will suddenly appear. Because you are like, it thrives on neglect now. So you neglected it and the pest came. Pests will suddenly appear. The plants won't grow. That's probably why your snake plant hasn't grown in 65 years. Because someone on the internet told you that they thrive off neglect, or is it on neglect? In fact, I don't know, off or on. Girlies, no plant thrives off neglect. Every plant, even succulents. I grow succulents as well. I have an extensive succulent collection. Watch out for that succulent tour coming up soon. So I grow succulents as well. I quickly noticed that these succulents that they're telling us, oh, neglect, drought, subjected to drought. I quickly realized that the more I cared for these succulents, the more I watered it regularly, the more they grew. And it is the same for a lot of plants. Plants actually need water to produce leaves. That's the thing. So if they are subjected to dry conditions constantly or drought constantly or neglect and not being watered as regularly and infrequently, they will not produce as much leaves. That's just how it is. And that's why some of your leaves, when they come out crinkled. They come out stuck. They come out badly formed. Because that plant is being neglected. That plant is barely being watered, babes. So please, thrives on neglect is so 2022, babes. Instead of using thrives on neglect, say handles neglect to a certain degree. Okay? A new plant thrives on neglect. Okay? Let's be mindful of that. All right. Now, moving on to the last point. I saved this for the last because I've made an extensive video about it with very valid points. Some of you didn't agree with me in that video, which is fine. But my point still remains that stop advising people to use terracotta pots as their go-to pots. Terracotta pots, that's an example of a terracotta pot there. And you might be like, hang on, am I not being hypocritical? Why am I using terracotta pot? Like I said in that video, and please, I would advise that you watch that video. That video may save you your plant collection. Like I said in that video, it's not so much that terracotta pots are bad, but you have to use them strategically based on your growing conditions, yada, yada, yada. I spilled the whole tea in that video. But I will never support anyone that comes on internet and says, do not use plastic pots. Every single person, use terracotta pots. Terracotta pots are the best. That advice has killed so many plants. That advice has sent so many plants to plant heaven. And a lot of the girlies do not know this. So terracotta pots have to be used with caution because they wick out moisture, which can be a good thing or can be a bad thing, depending on what plant you use it for and how you use it. Okay, girlies? Okay? Anyways, we've come to the end of this video, and I felt like I went in there, I was a bit shady, but it's this notepad. Whenever this notepad comes out, I lose my home training. But anyways, it's all love. I hope you found this video useful, entertaining, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and share. And as usual, I love these sort of videos because they're quite interactive. As usual, we're going to meet ourselves in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Let's kiki, let's just in the comment section as usual. And I'll see you guys in the next video. But for now, bye. And don't use super glue on your plants. Use cinnamon instead. Bye-bye.